Jai Hind to all. My name is Vaishali Deshwal, and currently I'm working as an assistant professor in AKGEC Ghaziabad. So, today this is the first session of machine learning techniques. In the previous semester, we have already discussed Unit 1 of machine learning techniques, and in this session, we will discuss Unit 2 of machine learning techniques. So, the code for the subject is BCS 055, and these are some of the contents which I will discuss during this presentation. So first is genetic algorithm, then issues in machine learning, then difference between the DS and ML, data science and machine learning, Bayesian learning, and maximum a posteriori hypothesis. So genetic algorithm is one of the approach of machine learning, and it is in unit 1. So we are left with only one approach, that is genetic algorithm. All the previous approaches we have already covered in the previous videos. Then so we'll see that what is genetic algorithm, what is the working of genetic algorithm, how it works, what are some main components of the steps involved in the procedure, and some concepts or the biological motivation of genetic algorithm. So genetic algorithm, it's an adaptive heuristic search algorithm. Now, what does heuristic means? So heuristic is the knowledge which we have about the domain. So if we have already some knowledge with us about the domain, that is the heuristic algorithm. So it's a heuristic algorithm inspired by Darwin's theory of evolution in nature. We all know the Darwin's theory of evolution in nature. So it has it takes some motivation or some concepts from this theory, and it evolved. Just like the neural networks. In machine learning, we have a concept called neural networks. So in the neural networks, we try to prepare some algorithm, or we have nodes or the edges where each node tries to mimic the functioning of a neuron in brain, the real neuron. Similarly, it has some motivation or the functioning from the Darwin's theory of evolution in nature. So it is mainly used to solve some optimization problems. Optimization problems means we have some sort of function, and then the aim is to maximize or minimize the function. Accordingly, we choose our population for that. So it is mainly used to solve some optimization problems, and it comes under the head evolutionary algorithm. So in machine learning, we have some evolutionary algorithms. And under this head, we have genetic algorithm. Then the working of genetic algorithm. So there are mainly 5 phases. First is the initialization. Then we have fitness assignment, then selection, reproduction, and terminations. Now, first is the initialization. So the process of genetic algorithm starts by generating the set of individuals, which is called population. So firstly, we have population, or you can say these are some numbers. For example, 2 or 4 or 5 or 6 we have. For example, we have a function called fx is equal to, say fx is equal to x square. So this is, let's say it's a function, and we have to maximize this function. So these are some of the solutions which I can suggest, and I need to find out that which solution will be the best solution. So this is the population. Then the individual contains, or it characterized by the set of parameters. So we have this another terminology called genes. So if you convert the population into the bit form, like if I write 2, so I can write 1 0. So this refers to genes, and now the genes that are combined into a string, those strings refers as chromosome. So which is the final solution to a particular problem. So these are the terminologies which you need to understand, that what is the population, individuals, and then genes, and then chromosome we have. Next is the fitness function. So obviously we need to find out the fitness, and for that we must have a numerical value, and we call it the fitness score. So first point talks about that it is used to determine how fit an individual is. Secondly, it will provide a fitness score, means it will have a value each solution has some score, and accordingly we will choose the highest score individual. That will be the best fit for us, obviously. So to each individual, we have a fitness score for every individual. Now this score further determines the probability of being selected for reproduction. So if it has high score, then it has the high chances of being selected. Then the high the fitness score is, the more chances of getting selected for the reproduction part. And next we have selection. So the selection phase involves the selection of individual for the reproduction of offsprings, and generally we have these three type of techniques for the selection purpose. So there is no need to study these techniques in deep. We just need to remember the names. One is the roulette wheel selections, tournament and drag based selection. So they have their own methods, and according to that they suggest the selection. Next is the reproduction part. So after the selection, or after selecting the fittest population, we need to do this reproduction step. And in this we have two operations, or you can say operators. So the creation of child occurs in this particular step, that is the reproduction step we have. So here we have two steps. First one is the crossover, and the other one is the mutation. These are the two operators, and under this head we just pass population under these two. First is crossover. So in this process we choose a point randomly within the gene, and the crossover operator swaps the genetic information of the two parents to find out the next one. So as you can see here, we have two parent 1 and parent 2. So let's say I choose a cut here or here or here, and these are chosen randomly, and then we combine these chosen characters or string, whatever you take, and then after combination we get offspring. So this is what we do in crossover. Next is the mutation. So in mutation we have randomly, we used to insert random genes just to maintain the diversity in the population. So there is a requirement just in the ecosystem. If we take an example of an ecosystem, then it is always desirable to maintain the diversity in the population of an ecosystem. Similarly, here also, the mutation operator insert the random genes in offspring or the new child to maintain the diversity. So as you can see in this example, here in place of H, I insert M, and in place of A, I insert N here. So this is before mutation and this is after mutation. And in the place of this character, I'm inserting this. In the place of character, I'm inserting this. So randomly, you can choose some character and you can insert a new character in place of that in order to maintain the diversity. And then we have termination, or the last step. So we must have a termination point or the criteria on the basis of which you can decide whether where to stop the process or where not to stop. So termination is, we must have a stopping criteria, and if we not decide the criteria, then it will go in the infinite loop. So the algorithm terminates after the threshold fitness solution is reached. So we must have, or we must decide this fitness solution, the threshold fitness solution we must have. Then this is a flow chart or the workflow for simple genetic algorithm. So we start from here, from the very beginning start, and then you choose the generation 0. You will initialize or create some initial population, whatever you are suggesting. Then you have to calculate the fitness for each individual. Suppose you are taking 4 individuals, so you have to calculate the fitness for each individual. Then the selection process, and for the selection process you have 3 techniques like the roulette, rank based and tournament. After that we do the reproduction step. In reproduction we have 2 operators. First one is the crossover, and the second one is mutation part. Again, you need to calculate the fitness for each individual after performing all these operators, and then you apply some conditions like stopping conditions. So if it applies, then you choose if the stopping condition met. If you met the threshold, then you will choose the individual with the highest fitness score and then you stop. okay, if the threshold is reached. But if not, then again you will go back to the selection part and then crossover, mutation. You will repeat all the steps: selection, mutation, crossover, the reproduction step, and again you need to calculate the fitness if you not reach your threshold value. So we are done with the genetic algorithm. Next topic is issues in machine learning. So first, there can be many issues. You can frame your own answer on this. So first is related to data. So inadequate training data means the main issue is related with the quality or the quantity of the data. Quality means whether it has some wrong values, null values, or the data is in the format or not. So all these things refers to the quality, and quantity, that how much data you require. Now poor quality of data, poor quality means incomplete data, inaccurate data, etc. Then non-representative training data, whatever data you are taking, suppose you are taking 2 features or 2 classes. So you must have that data in the representative form. It should not be like that you are taking one type of features in the excess and others in very less amount. So it should be a representative training data set in order that can generalize. Okay. So other thing is the overfitting and underfitting. So in overfitting, suppose in overfitting, if you train your data, and if you use a model, let's say linear regression you are using, and you train your model with the help of data. So if you are getting accurate result on the known data, very accurate result on the known data, and not accurate result or worst result on the non-trained data or the unknown data, then that condition refers as overfitting. Now, while we talk about underfitting, so underfitting refers to a condition where it gives you worst result or not accurate results on the known data or for the unknown data. Means for the both known or unknown data, training data, the data which you have used for the training purpose, that is the known data. So known data and unknown data, it gives you inaccurate results, then it is an underfitting condition. Okay, and when you are getting accurate result for the known data and inaccurate result for the unknown data, that is the overfitting situation. Means your model fits very accurately for the known data in overfitting. Now all these things, I have just taken this content from Tom Mitchell, and it listed out some of the concerns related to the ML. First is, what algorithm should we choose exist for the learning general target functions for specific training examples. So this is also one of the component we have studied in designing a learning system. So how much training data is sufficient? The quantity you need to decide. Then third point talks about when and how can prior knowledge held by a learner guide the process of generalizing the example. Then we should how to choose, or what should be the best strategy for choosing the next training experience. And then function approximation problem. You must choose or reduce your learning task to one or more function approximation problems. So how to choose the best way for that, it is also one of the concern. Okay, now we are done with the issue part, issues of the machine learning. The next topic is, what are the differences between data science and machine learning. So if we make a Venn diagram, then as you can see, on the top we have AI, then under AI we have machine learning, then deep learning, and under that we have generative AI. So there is a union between data science and all these terminologies. In data science we have EDA, visualization, and many tools for the visualization of data. So data science is somewhat a bigger term or a broader term comparatively to the machine learning. Okay, it includes machine learning. So what are some differences? So as first thing is, if we talk about data science, then it focuses on hidden patterns, on the identification of useful insights from the data. Means it focuses on the extraction of data or the information from the data. Now, machine learning, it focuses on enabling the machine to learn from the past data and the experiences. So the focus is quite different. Second point talks about, the point is quite similar to the first one, that it is used for discovering insights and it provides prediction and classification. So under machine learning, we have several types like supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. So if we talk about the supervised learning, then we have some regression problem and the classification problems also. Now, data science is somewhat a broader term. It includes the various steps to create a model, which refers to machine learning. And in machine learning, it is used in data modeling step of data science. Means machine learning, data science include machine learning. Okay. Okay. Next thing is, if we talk about some tools, if we talk about some rules, then the data scientist needs to have some skills like the big data tools. So in data science, we are dealing with the data only. Okay, we are focusing on data. We try to extract the useful information from the unstructured data, and we are talking about huge data set, or I should use a term called big data. So big data tools is a prerequisite or a skill which a data scientist must have. For example, Hadoop or Hive, Pig, R, Scala, in order to deal with huge data. And in machine learning, the skills can be like computer science fundamentals, R, Python, programming skills, etc. Then in data science, we can work with the raw, structured or unstructured data. The data which can be converted into row and column is a structured one. And in machine learning, it mostly requires the structured data. So we must do the pre-processing. Then we have the next point, that data scientists, they spend a lot of time in handling or in cleaning the data, whereas machine learning engineers, they focuses on the implementation and on the training part of the algorithm. Next is the Bayesian learning. So it is in second unit. This topic is in second unit. Second unit is divided into three parts. First is the regression. We have already covered regression. In our syllabus, we have two types of regression. First one is the linear regression and then logistic regression. Then we have Bayes theorem, and under Bayes theorem head, we have certain algorithms like we have naive Bayes classifier, then Bayes optimal classifier, EM algorithm, then Bayesian learning, and we have certain derivations based on the Bayes theorem. So it uses Bayes theorem to determine the conditional probability. All these concepts are based on conditional probability. And third part is SVM. Okay. So Bayesian learning, it's a paradigm for constructing statistical model based on Bayes theorem, and it uses Bayes theorem to determine the conditional probability of an hypothesis given some evidences or observations. Means it is known to you that some condition has already met, and you are interested in finding out the probability of something when you know its probability depends on some other event. So that is why we are saying that it is conditional. Now, if we come to the formal definition or the terminologies, then Bayes theorem. In machine learning, we are using this concept to find out the best hypothesis. Hypotheses are the solutions to the problem, and we are checking or the validity of the hypothesis, that which will be the best hypothesis among all. So if we have, let's say if we have three hypotheses, like H1 is there, then H2 and H3 is there, three hypotheses, then the collection of these is capital H. Okay, and you need to find out the best hypothesis. So in Bayesian learning, the best hypothesis means the most probable hypothesis. You need to find out the probability, and you'll choose the hypothesis with the most or with the high probability. So moving on, this is the main formula of Bayes theorem. So it says that D, after seeing data, you are interested in finding out the probability of hypothesis, whether it will hold or not. And then if you expand the formula, then we have P d by H, PH divided by PD. So this terminology is the likelihood, this is the prior probability, and this is the marginal probability, and this terminology is known as posterior probability. So you just need to remember the name or the terms for these. So in machine learning, we are always interested in finding out the posterior probability. Posterior probability says that you have observed data D, and after seeing data, you are checking the validity of hypothesis, that whether it will hold with data or not. So as you can see here, that this term is directly proportional to likelihood and prior probability, and it is inversely proportional to P of D. So if you increase the posterior probability, your marginal probability will decrease. Now these are some terminologies which I have already explained: posterior, prior probability, likelihood, etc. So this is it for today, and we have covered like genetic algorithm, what is the working of genetic algorithm, some terminologies related to it, and issues in machine learning, difference between data science and machine learning. And our next topic is Bayes theorem. So in the next session, we'll discuss some algorithms and derivations based on the Bayes theorem or conditional probability. So thank you.